everyone. Coming to you real quick from occupied territory, deep in occupied territory. Things are kind of scary out here. In case you've just come out of a coma, let me take this off so you can, it's easier to breathe. In case you just came out of a coma, was wondering what was going on, things seem pretty scary right now. Let me get you caught up a little bit. So I'll get to why I'm wearing this in just a moment. But there was a bad virus that was discovered, COVID-19, goes by many names. But it was really scary at first. It originated in China, spread throughout the globe. People were dying from it. In the first couple of weeks, man, people were complying with basically anything they were told, anything to stop the scary virus. But now it's been here for a few months. We know a lot more about it. We now know that its mortality rate is if you're below 70 like I am, it's around or less than 0.04% mortality rate, so not so bad, right? That's less than the flu, and it's also and especially here in occupied territory, it's much more dangerous to be driving. Now fortunately, that message hasn't gotten out yet, and they have not outlawed driving, so I'm still driving. I'm good there, even though it's much more dangerous than this virus. But people are dying from it, and the fear that's been created from it has just caused a lot of people to go into panic mode, and a lot of power-hungry politicians are exploiting that fact in order to keep people under control. Now let me get to this thing that's around my neck. You might also remember, again, if you just woke up from a coma, you may have remembered a time when the United States of America, which is where I am, you probably thought I was coming to you as a missionary in North Korea or China or something like that. Nope, still in the United States of America. And but from what you remember, there used to be three branches of government, right? There was executive, legislative, judicial, and the executive enforced the law, judicial interpret the law, legislative wrote the laws, right? Well, now the executive branch is just writing laws, and they're getting away with it because of the fear that is out there right now. That comes this silly mask, right? I am required to wear this, punishable by a fine. Again, no law written. There's no ARS, Arizona Revised Statute. Give you more of a hint of the part of occupied territory I'm in right now. There's no law in the books, totally executive order, that we can be punished, we can be written a fine, in some places even thrown in jail for not complying with, right? So because there's no Arizona Revised Statute on the books, of course, the way it stands right now, you just contest it, and then it would go to a judge, and then it'd eventually be thrown out. But it's scary times, and a lot of people are so afraid that they just go along with it. In fact, they'll come after you if you don't comply with an unconstitutional executive order. And even last night, or no, a couple nights ago, I was in the hospital next to someone younger than me who was just scared to death about this virus. She said, my boyfriend's trying to kill me. He's not wearing his mask, and I think I have the coronavirus. I know you guys tested me yesterday, but I had a slight fever this morning. I want you to test me again, and I might be pregnant. She was just going crazy with fear over this coronavirus. And so people requiring you to wear these masks, they're publicly shaming you if you do not. They're kicking you out of their business if you do not wear a mask. Crazy times we're living in. The other reason I have to be careful right now, again, in occupied territory, is I'm a middle-aged white Christian male. Definitely the type of person that you don't want to advertise these days. There was an individual named George Floyd who was murdered by a police officer who happened to be white, and he was black. And all of a sudden it sparked these people that were the militant wing of the Democratic Party seized that opportunity to spark riots and protests across the nation, claiming that it was representative of racism in our country. and evident of white privilege being pervasive throughout our country, and definitely in our law enforcement. The thing that's so strange about it, so many strange things about both how our response to COVID and the Black Lives Matter movement, the racism that they're talking about is based off an event that is universally condemned by everyone, especially law enforcement, right? So the system that's supposed to be racist has condemned this act that they're claiming is a racist act, even though it might not have even been a racist act. Just because it's a white guy and a black guy doesn't mean that everything that happens is due to race, right? But you can't tell a liberal that, and they are insistent that this is because of racism. However, the system is universally condemning this, and no one supports it. So to me, that seems indicative that the system is actually anti what happened, is not racist, right? So that's something that's going on. But those protesters, the again militant wing of the Democratic Party, Black Lives Matter, they're allowed to cause havoc and mayhem across our nation, even destroying historic monuments, and gather in huge groups without any fear of this coronavirus being spread due to that. However, if a group, a tenth the size of their protest, gathers in churches across America, and still in some places, again in America, pastors are being arrested for allowing that to happen. So because of the fear of this pandemic, which is less deadly than the flu and much less deadly than driving, pastors are being arrested if their congregants get together during this time. However, militant wing of the Democratic Party, Black Lives Matter, is allowed to gather in huge protests and cause all sorts of havoc with very little retribution. So that's a little unnerving. Again, scary times that we're in, and I just want to encourage everybody. We know that God doesn't promise that America will last forever, which is a sad thought to a patriot. But our citizenship is not of this world. However, I want to encourage everyone to stand in truth. Again, like this young lady who was freaking out in the hospital, and another young lady that I know that was literally having a panic attack and unable to breathe because of her fear of possibly getting the coronavirus. God doesn't give us a spirit of fear, but of a sound mind, right? So this is God is the God of truth and grace. Jesus is truth and grace, right? So let's not forget the truth. I think it's important to speak the truth, because there's a lot of people that are scared right now. The facts about this virus, the facts that not supporting an organization that calls for police to be brutalized and fought against, and for looting and destroying businesses. For if you don't support that, they say then you don't care about black lives and you're a racist. I don't see how those two go hand in hand. In fact, I was thinking about starting an organization called Don't Torture Children, because there are people in the world that torture children. It's really sad, really terrible. But then if I create that organization, then anytime anyone ever disagrees with me or doesn't give me money or do what I want, then I can just say, hey, you support the torturing of children, right? Which is absolutely not true, but that's exactly what Black Lives Matter does. I do not support Black Lives Matter, but that does not mean I have anything against black people. Absolutely ridiculous, right? It's a logical fallacy. Again, we need to be using logic and pushing logic. Facts matter. Truth matters. So please stay safe out there, and make sure you're praying for our nation right now. Speak truth in love, right? We don't need to, even if someone has it wrong, right? We don't want to beat the truth over their head, because that's not going to bring them to the knowledge of the truth. And it's not going to convince them of anything. And again, I'm speaking mainly to the church right now, because liberals have shown that they don't really care about the truth. You can show them videos, you can show them facts. It doesn't seem to persuade them at all, which is also a scary thought. So I'm talking to the church. Please, church, wake up and pray for our nation. Anyways, well, I'm going to be getting back to occupied territory here. Better mask up so I don't get arrested. So good luck. Please be praying for our nation.